The thing that you've mentioned a couple of times already is the gap. You talk about the gap. We hear about that from stroke survivors a lot. One of the biggest gaps that I'm trying to fill is the one where you have a stroke, you go to hospital, you get patched up, and then you go home. That is a massive gap because every bit of information that's necessary is missing because we've never been here before. We don't know
Mhm.
what to ask. We don't know how to solve problems. And there seems to be so many of them, we don't know where to start. And this is what the podcast does. It kind of fills in a few of those knowledge gaps. And what I try and do is paint a picture for people listening about the stories that stroke survivors share, that there's a terrible situation that makes them end up in hospital. Then there's a difficult time at home. And then over time, there's some form of turnaround and some kind of a recovery. And then there's some kind of return to not normal, but return to life. And it follows that path. And it's a very common theme. You see it for most people. The timeline is very different for everybody. There isn't a specific, I can't say to everybody, well, yeah, you've had a stroke, that's 6 weeks, or that's 9 months, or it's
Mhm.
not like a knee injury or some other type of injury, like a muscle injury. So people struggle to go through the process of dealing with the unknowns, all the unknowns about stroke. How do we move on from this? Because they probably have had a muscle injury or a knee injury or some kind of injury in their life, and they've always had that beautiful timeline that they can recover and then get back to life. And what's hard is when you get back, you're dealing with fatigue and you're dealing with all the trauma, perhaps brain surgery, and you're dealing with all those things. And then somebody says to you, you have to exercise. And I know how important exercise is. It is probably, I'm writing a book, and one of my chapters is about exercise and the benefits of exercise. But then for me, exercise was never harder in my life until I had brain surgery. And then it was more important than ever, but then it also was the hardest time to do it.